I'm Charles Adeniyi. Now let's get an informed assessment, making sense of the interview you just saw on this program with the former Senate Chief Whip, Senator Ali Ndume, analysed with clarity by our guest commentator. And he is the current affairs analyst and professor of communications at Bayes University, Abuja, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi. Great to see you again, Prof.
Thank you, Charles. Good to see you too.
It's been a wee while. Thank you very much indeed.
And heartfelt condolences on the killing of innocent Somtochukwu Maduagu.
Indeed. May her soul rest ever in peace.
Amen.
And we were just listening to Senator Ali Ndume there, somebody we have to say has great fluency with ordinary Nigerian people, and also seen as a great whisperer, if you like, with the political upper class. Pick what you will from what he said and give us your assessment.
Yeah, but I think I agree with him largely, especially in the area of corruption, which is more than systemic, more than endemic, and this has been with us. It seems like something that is really acculturated, and each time we try to deal with it, the more the crisis becomes, once more, a big elephant in the room. And I think we're not really looking at the solutions in the way we're supposed to be looking at it. There's just so much that these anti-corruption agencies can do: ICPC, EFCC, the police, DSS, code of conduct, etc., etc. If we're not preventive enough, we're not being preventive. We just think that we can limit our solution to apprehension, prosecution, and sanctioning. Even that one, we are paying lip service to it as well. There are so many ways in which people escape it. And of course, we just have to concentrate on the root causes. And what is one root cause of this is just that our society is steeped in, an unfortunate regard, for moneyism. We're just concerned about consumerism, concerned about what money can do, about materialism, and about ostentation.
But why do you think that's the case?
Absolute luxuriation. I think it's slightly historic, and of course, we may not have enough time to delve into it, but it also comes from our situation as a developing country, an underdeveloped one, where we are living in a world, where we have people who are already developed, and we're not strong enough. We're not strong-willed enough to be ingenious, to be creative, to develop to be original with our own development. So we just look for the least way out, the easy way out, and that easy way out is just to pilfer, cheap avenues to get resources so that we can ape and idolize the ways of the developed world. And that's why you see people exporting capital, even though illegitimately, because you are not able to look, again, like other countries in the South have done, countries in Southeast Asia, oftentimes we mention Singapore, Malaysia, India. Those ones have been ingenious. They've looked inward and have developed mechanisms to deal with corruption, but we're not doing that yet. Yeah, we know there are efforts, but those efforts are not enough.
Right.
We have to do some more things. And what about leadership? The example of leadership is also not helping matters. You are telling people not to be corrupt, but everything around you reeks of
screaming
corruption.
ostentation.
And there's one more thing, Charles. We've got to strengthen the institutions.
Indeed.
Why do I say this? If you look very critically, what do people steal money for? People steal money because of fear, because of anxiety, over lack, over poverty. So you want to get as much as possible to be able to sustain themselves.
Shore up your future.
Assumably, but most of the time it doesn't happen like that. So if you grow the institutions, and the institutions are responsible for the average citizen, there'll probably be nothing for you to steal money for.
Right.
Because the institutions are there to serve the things that you're afraid you may not get in the future.
Good point.
So these are some of the things that I think can be introduced. It may not be absolute, but they could be very helpful as the case could be.
Good points. And you talked there about the strengthening of institutions, and the rather popular idea at the moment is the issue of the replacement of the chairman of the Electoral Commission, INEC. The idea in the public's mind is that the new chairman should be independent, something many believe will strengthen the credibility and integrity of the next presidential election in 2027. I mean, because there is virtually no trust in the electoral process.
Yeah, I agree that we need somebody who is strong-willed, who is independent-minded.
But do you agree with the way that Senator Ndume said it should be essentially left to the Senate, the process, as it were?
It may not even help matter, because that person is still going to be a Nigerian. and he's not going to do it alone anyway. It can still be corrupted. You know, it can still be influenced. So I think we need to be much more holistic in looking at these, Charles. You know, because if you ask me, for instance, that who would I want to be the next INEC chairman? I don't know. Maybe he's a little bit old now. I mean, with due respect, mature person, senior citizen. Bring Emeka Anyaoku or bring Ibrahim Gambari. You know, reputable people who have had, you know, a illustrious career over the years, untainted reputation. But I dare say again that if you bring them in, you know, these people might be affected because of the overwhelming limitation of our moral condition, you know. And of course, because they cannot do it alone, they need lieutenants, they need commissioners, and they need people who will be in the states. You know, they cannot oversee everything. They can give instructions, but if people are not keen into their vision, they will just be oases. You know, they'll be isolated in their own vision and mission to redeem the electoral process, as the case could be. Then the laws, Unko, I'm sorry to use to speak like that. The laws, if they are weak, if they are implemented in the breach, of course, it's not going to help whoever you bring onto that space. You know, so I mean, that's the way I see it. Sorry.
So given the way, sorry about that. Given the way things are at the moment, we've only got about a minute or so. Some activists have said, and I think most people agree, that you need an INEC that can uphold the will of the people over the will of the politicians. I think it was Samson Itodo who was saying that just a day ago. Do you see that happening in 2027, the way things are going at the moment?
No, I don't see it. You know, we're not yet prepared for that kind of election where everybody will salute yet. There are so many things, so many pieces that are not probably fit in the jigsaw that may not still help our situation. But it's okay for us to continue to grow the standard, the quality of our election process. We cannot deny the fact that we've been growing it over the years, but let's just continue, even though we're not as fast as we should be, but we're making some progress. So I'm not seeing an election where we all can, you know, shout uhuru over or sing hallelujah over. But of course, it'll be okay if we see some improvement in terms of credibility, integrity, transparency, and of course, what other thing do we do? Maybe accountability at the end of the day, Charles.
Prof, thank you very much indeed. Professor Abiodun Adeniyi. Before we go, just to remind you that one of our anchors here at Arise News has died. Somi Maduagwu tragically passed away in the early hours of this morning following an armed robbery attack that is being investigated by the Nigerian police. Somi was 29. She was a cherished member of the Arise family, but was also a vibrant voice that engaged and connected with our viewers. She was also a lawyer and philanthropist and was hoping to become one day a senator. She will be sorely missed. That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Bye-bye, and thank you for watching.